All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. And we are going to play some Epic. I think, so I played a lot of Dark Draft the past 2 days, so I'll probably just see what I can do in Constructed here. I think we're going to make something new. I think that deck I was playing last time was not working out for me, so I'm just going to probably reset a couple of these here, and we'll just use those slots. Yeah, I think I want to build a constructed deck, mainly because it would be nice to mix things up after playing so much limited. So let's see what we got. I definitely want to use the new cards, but this deck might not be as heavy on the new cards as some of the previous decks I've been trying to make. I might just try and show like an archetype, but we'll add some of the new cards in from duels. So here, we'll do this. We'll go ahead and just pop over to duels here, and just scanning the cards quickly. I mean, I could make a human tokens deck. Personally, I don't think I mentioned this on stream. Human tokens isn't really as much my thing as some people really love human tokens. For me, there's such a high risk. It's a high risk, high reward kind of deck. And I love those gameplays styles where you are either grinding your opponent out, or you're kind of drawing a lot of cards, so you have more options. And with human tokens, a lot of the time you just kind of go all in on one turn and hope for the best. So we have been doing a lot of that. I think I'm going to try and make a slower paced deck here. I think we're going to do. Could play flanking maneuver. Maybe we'll make something fancy with buffs here. Now that we have Howl. Not sure if I have done this yet, but what you can do is with Force Mage Apprentice. I think I've talked about Force Mage Apprentice before. Force Mage Apprentice can attack multiple times. If you attack with it once and then you play a Sage 1-cost card, and then you can attack with it again, even though normally it's used for using the ability twice. All right, I think I know what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is we will make a good and Sage deck, because we did do that once and it just was not working. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do another one of those. I think what I'm gonna try and aim for here is we're gonna make Knight of Glory look like a good card. So basically, this card potentially can deal 18 damage, right? You get a 6 offense Blitz champion, so it can attack right away. And then up to 2 target champions each get +6 offense this turn, so it can give maybe 2 human tokens +6 offense. It can give an airborne champion +6 offense. So we're going to go ahead and try and take advantage of that card. We're going to play some unblockable champions here. I'm going to go over to Sage, and we're definitely going to be playing Misguided Herald in this deck. This deck's going to be a Misguided Herald deck, and we're probably also going to play Surprise Attack, just as a splash, because we are going to be champion heavy. Whenever you're champion heavy, usually the splashing is better. Let's go ahead and we'll put the misguides in. What I mean is, basically, Surprise Attack has this hidden cost where if you don't have a champion in your hand, then it's a dead card. But otherwise, it's amazing. Where is it? I've always joked about how whenever there is a card and I already know what I want, for some reason I have such a hard time just using the alphabet. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get probably Kongs here, or Flame Strikes. This might be a deck for Flame Strike. We can go ahead and I think we can pull this off with Flame Strikes, because we're going to make this a deck where we're punishing the opponent. So having that little bit of extra reach might be extremely valuable. There's a couple of other things we could try. If we end up with a deck that Whirlwind looks good in, I'll play this instead. Deal 7 damage to each champion player, including yourself. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and go over to the free wild cards, and we'll fill that out first. If there's a small section of my deck, I like to do that first. That's my personal preference. That's mostly because it is just easier to do the chunks of the deck that you know how they're going to look, and then make the core, and then you'll fill in the whatever's missing, basically. So for example, I could take Rage here. I think Rage is a great pick, and so is Wolfspite. I think these are the two that I'm thinking about. The main reason is if we don't have a lot of small removal, and we probably don't because we'll be running Sage and Good, Wolfspite will probably be the play. So go ahead and put those in. But I could play Rage here, and it would be pretty decent with Knight of Glory and cards like that. So we are going to be playing an aggressive deck here. So in Sage, I'm going to go ahead and put in the Juggernaut, and probably also we'll play Veldin, which I've mentioned is one of my more favorite cards in this category, just because you just so frequently can blow people out by bouncing all of your champions after they've spent their gold. So go ahead and play Veldin here. We might be able to get away with Memory Spirit. We've got kind of the type of deck that would normally place Memory Spirit, or Chronicler even. So like, for example, right here, I would probably leave this as it is and try and figure out where else I wanted to do my good cards, because I'm just thinking, what cards do I think I'm definitely going to play? I'm almost definitely going to play Lessons Learned here because I have Surprise Attack Flame Strike, which those are cards that I will frequently want to play 2 times. So if I can get one more event in there, then Lessons Learned will be quite good for that purpose. Or 1-cost event. So I think we're going to go ahead and play Helion. We'll probably end up with a heavier blue, and then the good will be more of a lighter splash. It's easier usually to splash a lighter good, just because the Loyalty 2 cards in good. Let's just go ahead and look them up here. We've got Angel of Mercy as well. Look at the Loyalty 2 cards here, right? Angel of Light is a very specific type of deck. Chamberlain Kark, a very specific type of deck. These are both health gain cards, so you want them in the deck that's trying to win by going over twice their max health total. High King. Unfortunately, this card suffers from a lot of people running hate for champions that have 1 health already, so for that reason it can be very hard to run unless you're going with a banished theme, because the unbanishable means that this card is pretty good in those decks. Marcus here. The main reason people run Marcus is if the opponent makes you discard it, then you get to play it. And that's actually surprisingly relevant. A lot of people right now are running either wild decks or discard decks. I think those are the most popular. And the reason is the wild deck is super straightforward, and some people just get blown up by Thoughtplucker and they really want to play with that card, so they end up building a deck around it. This deck might end up running it as well. So that was Loyalty 2s. I just wanted to highlight White Knight as well, that none of these cards are, I mean, the main strategy, right? The best card here is probably Angel of Light in terms of just raw effectiveness. You get 10 health, which is something that you normally would spend a gold on, but you also get a 5/6 airborne ambush, so it's a lot like Medusa. But you have to really work for Chamberlain Kark to be worth the gold, right? It has to be 9/12, so that's already reasonable stats, but compare that to something like Mythic Monster, which is a 13/15, and it has Tribute Draw card, so we want to be better than that, and that means you're going to need to gain a lot of health. So if you reveal a 5, you gain 10. That's pretty reasonable for on-turn health gain, but that means your deck's almost completely good, and also your win condition is probably going to be going up to twice your starting health, because just gaining health isn't going to win you the game. And oftentimes, Kark can just get blocked easily, so he ends up being more of a blocker, a wall, towards things like demon tokens. Alright, but enough of that rant there. Let's just go ahead and look at the good cards again. So I think what we want to have some kind of board clear. It could be Wave of Transformation. Could be something like Martial Law. I like Martial Law. I like Urgent Messengers. Again, we are trying to provoke the opponent. Could run this Knight of the Dragon. We're definitely going to run Nobleman Unicorn because we are going to have enough good cards that we're frequently going to draw more than 2 cards off this, so it's going to be a must remove for the opponent, and it's an ambush champion. Alright, so one thing that we do want are establishing champions that we don't mind just throwing out at some point. and probably also some amount of health gain. So we could run something like the Palace Guard, because it's a very good card to surprise attack out, and it does give us some removal that champion based. Plus we have 3 foils, so that might have to be the reason. I think we do want Urgent Messengers here. This will help us. I like playing this card a lot in aggressive decks because 2 human tokens often just act as a way to prevent you from dying to big champions on the ground, like Raging T-Rex. And then drawing 2 is a function that you need in your aggressive decks because you're probably going to run out of gas at some point. And it's a good card to play just at the start of the game or in the mid game, mid to late game after you have kind of fought it out and you're running low on cards, and so is your opponent. So yeah, we're going to probably go for the Martial Law here, mostly just because we want to banish all that does something to our opponent. It's not just, I mean, we could play Divine Judgment, but the nice thing about this is there's a good chance that we'll end up running the Soul, I forget the name of it, Soul Swap, Soulstorm, and that card, let's see. This card, each player chooses a champion they don't control, break the rest, so we can choose one of the human tokens that their Martial Law gives them. So we'll go ahead and run 3 of these. And now we definitely need to pick up a lot of champions here because we've picked up a lot more events. And we are running Misguided Herald. So I'm likely going to run Memory Spirit. I'll probably play some kind of establishing champion. So I think I'm going to run Garbage Golem and Steel Golem as establishing champions. Now let's see. Right now we have 28, 6, so that's 5 left that we need to pick up. Yeah, 5 left we need to pick up. So 3 more Sage probably, and then that'll be another 2 that can go anywhere that we want. So let's go ahead and pick up the Sage cards first. It might just be Thought Plucker here. Like I said, we want champions. I think it is going to be Thought Plucker. We want 1-cost champions, so Thought Plucker is really going to help us because it's just card advantage. It's going to draw us a card every turn, and it's a threat on its own. So we'll go ahead and pick that up. I think the other card we could consider here would be Chronicler, Blue Dragon even. I think it's pretty nice when you have a lot of Sage cards. Knight of Shadows is also a pretty reasonable pick here because it does a similar role to Thought Plucker, but it's more aggressive, and it's better played. It's better played when you need to send something on your own turn. But we do have a lot of those plays now, I think. And I mean, Steel Golem might just be worse than Knight of Shadows, but I just love Steel Golem so much, so I think we're going to run that for now. So let's go ahead and toss in some 0-cost cards here. So one thing that might be worth doing is we'll just run both the Vanishings. What I mean by that is this card returns a champion to its owner's hand if it's your own turn, and we're also going to run a Disappearing Act, which if it's your own turn, it returns a champion to its owner's hand. They've got different alternate modes, but we're probably going to use them mostly for the bouncing effect. Do I have too many cards? 30. Yeah, I do have too many cards. Alright, I think we want to keep all of our wild cards. I think we could go down to 1 Martial Law, so we'll try that out for now. That'll give us 46, so we need to cut 6 of these Sage cards. I don't know why I was having so much trouble. Don't need the Memory Spirit. I think that's a flex slot. And the other one I would cut is probably... Man, it really should be Steel Golem. Just don't have very many establishing champions. Garbage Golem might not hit that often because our deck's going to end up being about half Sage, so we'll go ahead and cut that. And then that'll end us up with 24 plus 6 is 30, plus 10 is 40. So we have all of our 1-cost cards. We're going to go ahead and fill out our 0-cost. So I like to play Keeper of Secrets in any deck that is heavy Sage because it recycles right away when you play a Sage card after it, and then it's just going to keep recycling. And I think that's very high value. We also struggle with small champions, so I'm going to run Force Mage Apprentice. Plus, you can deal 4 damage to your opponent's health total with it if you need to. So that's going to be our card selection for our Sage cards. And then we'll go over to good here. And I think we didn't actually end up picking up any health gains. So I'll go ahead and play some second winds, and then we have 2 more 0-cost cards to run. I mean, we could just go super aggressive and play something like Brave Squire, which gives us +5 offense, or Arm, which gives us +7, but no protection. Or we could run Mobilize for more health gain, it's just gain 7, or Watchful Gargoyle as another evasive off-turn recycler. I don't think we have very much recycle, so let's just go ahead and run the Watchful Gargoyle with 2 of. Might even want to do that in place of 1 second wind. I think it might be better. We'll have time. Watchful Gargoyle is going to do the same thing. So let's go ahead and run 3 of those and 2 second winds. And we should be all set here. So we're just going to call this deck I mean, it's a tempo deck, really. So we'll call it good tempo. I mean, it's really Sage. Good Sage tempo. Alright, we have our deck. Now, what's important about this deck is we're basically going to try and get out a threat in the early game and hold it in place while we draw cards and play more things that everyone has to deal with. And our Martial Law will be kind of a backup plan, with the Soulstorm being the main way that we deal with pretty much anyone that is trying to overwhelm us on the board. This deck will have some weaknesses. Mainly, it suffers from a lack of good on-turn plays. We have Juggernaut, Misguided Heralds, I'm not sure what else, but those things will get ironed out as you play with the deck more. So we're going first here. I'm going to toss the Knight of Glory because it's pretty bad in the opening hand. I'll probably toss Lessons Learned and Helion as well. So keep vanishing Noble Unicorn. That way we have draw 2 here, and then we also have Noble Unicorn, which is a good off-turn play because it's a very good chance that we're going to pass. And then our opponent's turn will start, they'll play something, and then pass back to us. Alright, because we could just slam this Veldin here, but we could get blown out by something like a Surprise Attack Kong. There aren't very many things that would actually blow us out. Something like Medusa. Nobody's been running it. Might even be worth just going for it. Go for the safe play and just pass. They have a Kong avatar, so maybe they're running Kong in their deck. Alright, this is a deck, for those of you who are just tuning in. This is a deck that I just made. It's a Sage heavy with good is the main follow-up faction. We're also running a little bit of wild cards here, just for Flame Strike and Surprise Attack. Interesting, they're running Jungle Queen here. So Jungle Queen, it can be a very dangerous card because it gives your Wild Champions ambush. Could draw a lot of cards here. Let's just go for that. Play Urgent Messengers on my turn, so I'll go from 6 to 8. Draw 3, lose 1. And then we can go ahead and Vanishing probably whatever their play is. So I'm going to pass here. But I'll let them go ahead. If they want to play a T-Rex here, I'll just return the T-Rex to hand. These human tokens from Urgent Messengers are also quite nice with Knight of Glory, as they give us some targets. It's going to be Smash and Burn, sure. Alright, I'm going to be aggressive here and just return that to hand and then attack for 6. They have a lot of cards in hand, so it's not super likely they'll be able to play them out. They might have Brachiosaurus plus a 0-cost card type of thing. I'm just going to take it. What's nice here is that we also get to have our opponent spend their resources first. They'll likely spend their gold here, which means that we can surprise attack out this Veldin and just bounce all of their plays back to their hand. Alright, there's Skaros. So maybe not bouncing things. Revealing 6. Battlecry, Winds of Change. Okay, I see where this deck is going. Smash and Burn, Flash Fire, Junk Queen, Winds of Change, Wolf's Companion, Pack Alpha. So for those of you who don't know what all those cards do, they're running a couple ways to buff all their wild champions, and also they're running these two cards that give all of your wild champions buff for the turn and breakthrough. So trying to go wide. That's their strategy. They may just return that to hand anyway. Because what are they going to play on my turn? They're going to play Smash and Burn. Battlecry draws them too, so they'll probably play that. So just go ahead and surprise deck out this Veldin here. Turn that to hand, even though we will take the damage again. It's really not the end of the world. We're going to have to discard 2 to maximum hand size, so the Smash and Burn will get discarded here. But 12 damage from 2 Smash and Burns is actually not enough to take down this Veldin. And then we've got Flame Strike Lessons Learned will give us the win if they're at 16 or below. So if we hit them with this Veldin, they're going to go down to 14, and then we can Flame Strike them and pass. And based on their hand, we should just win. They don't have any type of health gain. That means they do need to block this. And let's see if we do know what's in their hand. Go over it real quick. So they could play Wolf's Companion on my champion. If this leaves their discard pile, they get a Wolf token. So maybe we'll see a play involving that. If they recall that, that would be crazy. That would not be the play. Play here is probably for them. They have to draw 2 with Battlecry and hope for the best. Oh, actually, you know what they can do is they can use both Smash and Burns and Flash Fire. So that'll probably be their play. And then we'll go ahead and get him for 12 with this Night of Glory. Yep. Wolf's Bite. It's a little unfortunate because now they have a blocker. Alright. I'm going to banish their Wolf's Bite here, which will give them, their Wolf's Companion from their discard pile, so that'll give them another Wolf token. But it's currently our turn. It's probably going to be something like just play a surprise attack to get it out of the hand. Helion, get rid of both the Wolves, and then pass. That's what I'm imagining here. The real question is, what do I do about the Scaros? That's going to inevitably show up. That might be a hand. That might be a plan for when I have more cards in hand. If I draw another Flame Strike, for example, then this game plan completely changes. So go ahead and do that. Oh, perfect. Never mind. We'll go ahead and show off the lessons learned that they know about, and probably the Soul Storm. We'll leave the Helion a secret. Go ahead and get him for 10 here, and then we can go for the Flame Strike, double Flame Strike game plan here. We'll Flame Strike them, and then we'll lessons learn our Flame Strike on our turn. They are going to get some big Scaros triggers though. If they play Scaros here, they're going to probably reveal 8 cards and deal 8 to us. It's like a Flame Strike. It's also an 11-11. But I think we win this race. You know, this deck could really use Shadow Imp for Night of Glory. Shadow Imp would be very good, and it's also just good on its own in these aggressive type of decks with Punishers. Trying to think what we want to take out for it. We don't want to take out Force Mage Apprentice for sure. Alright, there's Scaros. Gonna reveal 8, I'm guessing. Alright, they don't have any answer, so we win. They don't have any way to draw cards. They don't have any way to deal damage to us except for the 2 Flash Fire. That is 0, I mean. Alright, that's going to be game. Game pitch. Alright. We'll run it back. Maybe I can get another game with this and then edit it. Let's go ahead and open up the deck. We'll take a look. You can do that while we're queuing here. So what I really want to play is a Shadow Imp in these slots, but I don't think I can get rid of Keeper Secrets, and I'm being really greedy by not running Amnesia. You might just want to... Honestly, I'm not sure this deck... Well... I'm sure this deck wants Night of Glory. Might just be better off with Avenging Angel over Night of Glory. It's kind of funny, because we're ending up with a deck, so you do have the Disappearing Act, but... I did say that if we ended up with a deck that Hurricane seemed good in, I should put it in, not Hurricane, the other one. So I do think it is good in this deck. I'm going to go ahead and swap that out. So I'll go over to Wilds, Golds, and there's a new card which deals 7 damage to all champions and players. So I'm going to play that over the Flame Strikes here. Try that out. And then let's go ahead and make some cuts here. I think we just want Urgent Messengers, Noble Unicorn. I don't think we need the Martial Law. I don't think it's going to really help us out too much. Maybe we'll just cut the Martial Law and the Night of Glory here. In which case the Noble Unicorn isn't really cutting it anymore, but we could play Avenging Angel. Could just cut all of the good. I do like having some amount of health gain, it's very nice. But on the other hand, this deck could just be a full-on Sage deck. So let's just go ahead and probably are going to make that change. Just because we don't really have anything in good that was particularly pulling us in that general direction. So we can go ahead and just play anything here. We're just going to pivot this good Sage deck into a Sage deck that plays Garbage Golem. Because I really wanted to play this card before, but we didn't really have that many Sage cards, so this deck it'll probably be a draw too, just because we're going to reveal the top card of our deck and then draw it. And this way we can also run, I'm just going to save it real quick. This way we can also run the not moved. Oh, it's probably at the end because it's not a finished deck. Oh, interesting, it stopped. I didn't know that it would actually use the updated version of the deck. Anyway, where was I? So, we're going to go ahead and play, we definitely want champions. We're going to play the cards that I've talked about playing, but didn't put in the deck. So we're going to play Knight of Shadows. And right now we've got 36, so we need 4 more cards. I might just run Flame Strikes, honestly. I might just play a little bit more of that other color. Because I'm pretty happy with that, with this list here. Let's go ahead and look at our wild cards. So we could just run Flame Strikes and a Fires of Rebellion. It's pretty spicy. Fires of Rebellion. That'll be another deal 7. We could run Fires of Rebellion so that the alternative mode is draw a card, deal 7 to target champion. We could run deal 7 to a target or deal 3 damage to target player in each of their champions. So this would help us with things like zombie tokens and just small things in general. We could run, just looking at things that are, I want direct damage basically. We could run Savage Uprising, which is 5 to a player and you draw a card. Or you deal 9 damage to each of your 1-cost champions. I think I would actually kill most of my champions, so I don't want to do that. I think that I'd rather have the direct damage over the damage plus draw. So we'll go Fires of Rebellion for now. There's one other. I mean, there's Lightning Storm. Go ahead and run this as it is. That means we need to play another wild 0-cost card. So I was talking about playing Rage in this deck. I think that's still on the table. Or Go Wild maybe. Go Wild might be even better. I think we are going to get in with this deck frequently. We have lots of evasive champions, so let's just go ahead and run 2 Go Wilds. I think this card's underrated. Maybe 1 Lash. much just Veldin. Everything else is fine. Alright. Line here. Yeah, I've got more of a traditional, this one's more of a Sage build, so it's basically a Sage heavy deck that runs some burn from Wilds. It's actually something you can do. You can kind of combine two archetypes together. So here we're running what you'd normally see in a heavy Sage deck with some alternatives. I'm not running Wave of Transformation. I am running Soulstorm here. I'm running Steel Golem, which I think people don't usually play as often. Mostly because I think that it's quite good with the Disappearing Act and the Vanishing, which are both going to return an opponent's champion to their hand. And also, we're running just these cards that deal direct damage to our opponent. So I think we're going to try and get something spicy going with this Whirlwind here. Maybe we can get rid of some of our opponent's champions and also deal 7 damage to them in a game. That's going to be the game plan. Try and take out an opponent's champion while keeping ours up with a Whirlwind. We do have some things which are vulnerable to it. Knight of Shadows, Misguided Heralds. Those will both die, and Thoughtplucker, but the idea is if our Knight of Shadows and Thoughtplucker are still alive, either of those are still alive, then we'll just kill our opponent or drain them out of cards with those. So we're assuming that we'll get the benefit, and then they're going to die somehow. And then the Whirlwind will be our backup plan. Now we don't have any health gain in this deck, so once we lose health, it's permanent. Maybe I should try and make a good wild deck. We'll play a pump heavy deck. There was a deck in the last Worlds, actually, that was a pump heavy deck. And I always think that it's really interesting talking to people about that deck because a lot of people really don't want to play it. It's easy to make a mistake because you kind of have to decide if you're going all in. At what point in the game do you want to commit your cards, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and we'll make a pump deck on the side here while we're waiting. We can go ahead and slam the Knight of Glory. So the type of cards that I'm thinking about here are going to be Arm and Brave Squire. So we got Brave Squire, which will give us +5 offense, and Unbreakable this turn. We've also got Arm, which will give +7 offense. So we've got a lot of pumps here. Just, you know, an Arm and a Brave Squire, that's already +12. We're going to go over to our wild cards. And we'll go to free wild cards. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to play Go Wild, which is +4 offense, +4 defense, and Recycle. We're going to play Rage for sure. And then we'll probably run Howl, just because it's +5 offense, +5 defense. Just go ahead and try doing something where we're just running all of the buffs, and we'll see how that does. I'll play something like One Lash, and we'll go ahead and make our 1-cost lists off of that. So what we want is, we're definitely going to want Righteous, so we're going to play Avenging Angel, for sure. We'll just call this Pump Beatdown, and I call it Pump because Pump is the word for when you, honestly I have no idea where the jargon came from. It's the jargon for the word, it's when you make your thing bigger during combat, make your champion. Alright, so we're definitely going to run Avenging Angel. What else can we do that just take advantage of all these pumps here? Small evasive champions. Maybe Faithful Pegasus. Faithful Pegasus might be worth it in this deck. We've got so many pumps, and then also we can Faithful Pegasus our humans, like Knight of Glory. We can give that Airborne, and then attack for 8 + 12 is going to be 20. That's a lot of damage. So we'll go ahead and do that to start. Go ahead and play Noble Unicorn here. And Airborne Champions are good because they're just inherently difficult to block. So we'll go ahead and play Angel of the Gate as another Airborne Champion there. We could play Breath of Life as well, which will give us another good one cost play, but also give us 2 human tokens. Sometimes we use the gain 12 health mode if we're up against a deck where it's a problem. Now we're going to have a lot of evasive champions, so we'll go ahead and play Martial Law because I think giving them the humans most of the time will just do nothing. And I think we want to run Marcus. If I have to cut one, it'll probably just be the Martial Law. Kind of want that. Maybe the Breath of Life. Breath of Life might be tough to play. We'll go ahead and do 1 Breath of Life, 2 Martial Law, so we can try it out. This way, what we're going to do is, if the opponent makes us discard, we've got the Marcus, and then we can punish with Marcus into Faithful Pegasus, which gives the Marcus Airborne, and we can get it for 12. Alright, but we are back to our Sage and Wild deck here, so we're pretty much just running a fairly heavy Sage deck, which is going to be beating down our opponent. Juggernaut is basically the face of this deck. We've got an aggressive draw card playstyle where we're either drawing cards or being aggressive, and we're just going to try and beat them down. And then we'll close out the game with something like Flame Strike with Lessons Learned to back it up. So we're going first. We don't need Flame Strike or Lessons Learned. We'll keep the Vanishing as a draw 2, and I don't really need Disappearing Act either. Basically, Force Mage Apprentice will do a perfectly good job of taking out things with 2 health. So we'll toss all of those, and then here's our opening hand. So we're going to run out the Steel Golem here. It's actually a pretty good opener, in my opinion, because it's just so effective at sometimes getting in for 13. And we're not going to reveal the Vanishing, because we might play that this turn. Usually you want to not reveal what your opponent could play around. So maybe they're thinking of playing a Crystal Golem. I mean, that's not actually a terrible example, but maybe they're thinking of playing something which could block this, and then we can Vanishing it. But it needs to be a 1-cost champion. It might be Desperate. That is a 0-cost champion. But we are going to take it down for free, so our 13 damage will just kill that Guild Demon, and then we'll pass. Smash and Burn. Interesting. 8 plus 5 would be 13, so maybe they have a Spike Trap? Nope. Alright, well, I'm going to pass. It's fine. Steel Golem might... The nice thing about this early Steel Golem play is it might look like I didn't really do that much, right? And the opponent drew 2 cards and then discarded 1, basically, because they had to not take 13 damage. And I deployed this Steel Golem, which is currently expended. But now I get to just keep attacking with this. So they kind of have to play a board clear here. If they don't play a board clear here, then they'd have to lose something every turn. Or they could play Burrowing Worm, which is why we run cards like Vanishing. So we're just going to run out a bunch of big champions. So I'll draw 2 with this Lessons Learned here. Lesson learned. I keep saying lessened. Alright. And honestly, I might have to not play the Vanishing, unfortunately. Because I need to draw 2. But we'll see. Just go ahead and get in for 2 with the Shadow first, and then we'll play the Knight of Shadows. And then we'll pass after that. Interesting. Recycle. 2 Wolf Spites. Okay. It's really the power of Shadow Imp there. It's really scary. They haven't spent their gold yet, so the Smash and Burn's still active. Here's the play I want to make. I want to go Force Mage Apprentice, take out a wolf, play Knight of Shadows, take out another wolf. See what they discard. Surprise Attack's okay because at least it gives me another off-turn play. So what I can do here is use the Force Mage Apprentice on that wolf token, pass to them. With the Steel Golem hasn't attacked yet. And then it looks like, oh, I can't attack because the Burrowing Worm's in the way, right? So now they're going to do something passive, like draw 2 cards, take out my Knight of Shadows, and then I'm going to banishing their Burrowing Worm back to their hand. Oh, I could just start their turn. I guess that's also a play. Alright, well, if they attack with that Burrowing Worm, we are going to have to double block here. Flame Spike first. But I can go wild after damage before blockers in order to make the Knight of Shadows survive the Smash and Burn plan, which they are undoubtedly cooking up. And then 8 plus 13, the Burrowing Worm has to choose which one it kills, and the other one survives. So they'll probably take out the Steel Golem, I take out the Burrowing Worm, and then I can just start attacking for 9 with this Knight of Shadows. But maybe I shouldn't make any predictions this game, because I keep doing it, and then I get surprised by this new tech. But in all honesty, the big weakness behind Burrowing Worm is that it just gives your opponent so much time to answer it. 18 offense is a lot of offense, so this is, if this hits your opponent, you probably win the game. I mean, not always, but if you play it on turn 1 or turn 2 and it hits your opponent, then you're in a very demanding lead. However, usually you play it and then on that player's turn or the other player's turn. So we're going to go ahead and block first, and the reason that I'm going to block first is this way if they have removal for the Knight of Shadows, then it doesn't matter. But we might get punished here. We'll see if we do. Doesn't really matter which ones I choose. Feeling good though, because they didn't have an off-turn card to play, I think. Oh, bitten. Well, I did get punished. Well, let's go ahead and surprise attack. Probably going to go ahead and drop the Knight of Shadows anyway. What I was looking for there was a Disappearing Act, because you can play that off turn to just discarding a card. But I'm going to lose the Steel Golem here. And then we're going to get in for 9, 10, 11, 24, 22. If you decide to go attack, Shadow Imp, attack, Juggernaut, attack, Shadow Imp, attack. Interesting. Well, we're going to take that 7. The Vanishing is going to come in handy here. We just need to draw a card that we can play off turn. So go ahead and launch that out first. And that was exactly the card that I was looking to draw last turn, because basically the return target champion to its owner's hand, you can play it off turn and just lose one of these other cards. So go ahead and do the Shadow Imp first. Now, I mentioned before that usually you don't want to leave your Shadow Imp out. So I'm going to Juggernaut, return the Shadow Imp to hand, reveal a Shadow Imp, and probably a Steel Golem. Draw card. And then we'll go ahead and get it for 9 again. And take 7, go to 10. I'm going to just go ahead and return the Burrowing Worm to hand right away here. I could use the Vanishing, but I think I want to draw 2 with the Vanishing. Let's go ahead and toss that back. Pass the turn. I'm really getting punished by this Burrowing Worm. I even took some damage from that last attack, but I do think we're going to get there. Sometimes you do make an assumption, and instead, even though I think it was correct for me to have passed on the first turn, I did get punished by it because I just had made the assumption the opponent would have an off-turn gold to play in their opening hand, or at least they would mulligan heavily to find one. And I could hide a Flame Strike right now. And the Brachiosaurus. Interesting. Okay, we should be able to get there. Got unblockable champions for days here. I just made a couple of assumptions that the opponent would make a play with their gold, basically. That they would have land for it if I spent my gold first. So I might as well wait for that information. Drain Essence, that's a very good card to have. So let's see, if I play Helion and steal the Burrowing Worm, so I attack with Shadow Imp, Helion, Shadow Imp, go wild, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're at 11. This attacks, they block with that, They take 6 and go to 5. They also lose their Brachiosaurus. Or, I don't think there's a better or. We're going to go ahead and attack with the Shadow Imp and go wild at first, just to see what we get here. I did have the option, which I probably should have done, to play the Thought Plucker and just make them discard a card during combat there, before attacking, I mean. So I think that was a misplay. I should have done that. Alright, so if I play Helion and gain control of that, that's good, except that I will die on the swing back because I'll take 18 here. And it would only deal 6, 7, 8. So they'd be at 5 still. It's not going to be good enough. We're going to draw 2 with this Garbage Golem. Maybe even play the Steel Golem just as a blocker. I mean, this can block the Brachiosaurus perfectly fine, so we'll go ahead and play the Garbage Golem and draw 2 here. Alright, that's a Flame Strike. So we don't get to draw an extra card. Basically, the way Garbage Golem works is if the card you draw is Sage, you draw an extra card. So it's a draw 2 most of the time in this deck, but we do have 9, I think. I guess we have more now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 Flame Strikes, 3 Scythe Attacks, 1 Fires of Rebellion, 3 Whirlwinds. So that's going to be 10, 15. So yeah, 3 out of 4 chance of drawing 2. Group attack here is interesting. I think the play is, oh, they're turning off Helion. That's actually a very good play on their part. I think I lose. Yeah, that's a very good play on their part. What else do I have? I could draw 2 and try and find the Disappearing Act, because it returns a champion to owner's hand. But I have to get 2 of them, and I mulliganed 1 and played 1, so it's not actually possible for me to get 2 of them. If I do Helion, I don't actually get to block with it, but it stops that attack. So I can block with Helion and the Garbage Golem and the Shadow Imp. So it would be 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I don't die here if I did that. So I can definitely do something along those lines. So I Helion, gain control of the Burrowing Worm. Then 8, 9 takes out 8, 9, so that's 2 damage left over. So if I do all 3 of these, that's 10, 11, 12 goes there, 7 goes there, so we should do that. So I should play this, reveal the Shadow Imp and the Juggernaut. Maybe the Steel Golem, because I think I'll play the Juggernaut here. We'll go ahead and gain control of the Burrowing Worm, so that way it's not attacking anymore. Play the Shadow Imp, we'll move to blocks. Block with all 3. This way we take out both, and then we lose the Shadow Imp and one of the other 2. You have to do this. We do still lose to basically anything that removes our stuff, but they did. This is their top deck, so they just drew a card. We could have nothing here. I'm not necessarily out of this, basically. I'm probably going to just play the Steel Golem and try and win by hitting for 13. Or the Juggernaut plus Flame Strike. It looks like we're going to get away with it. Trying to figure out where the damage goes. It's going to be 15 here, which is 3 plus either of these other 2. So I think you'd want to leave me with the Garbage Golem, because the 9 offense is less scary than the deal 2 damage without attacking. But it does depend on what they have in their hand. Like, they might, if they don't have any real answer here, choose to leave the Helion, because I might use it for the damage instead of attacking. And they know the attack can get through. Alright, but they're going to go ahead and leave the Garbage Golem, that's fine. Die to anything with Blitz. As Ankylosaurus. And they're going to draw a card off of it, alright. Alright, it's a game. Could go either way here. Could play this Veldin and just bounce both. It's a pretty good play. But they have to stop this. Something really good. So go ahead and do that. Veldin, choose 2. Which one did I already reveal? I think I've revealed the Juggernaut. Just have both those back. And we're going to assume they don't have a play because they just drew a card off the top of their deck. So I could get punished here, but basically I'm not going to play around something like Lurking Giant or Surprise Attack off the top. Those are pretty much the only two that, Surprise Attack really would be the main one, which I'd get really blown out by. Flake's fine. I think that means we win, unless they get a Guilt Demon here. I think we got it. It was very, maybe we don't. You could still have a blocker here. You might as well block the bigger one. Alright, yeah, it's going to be game. Good game draw-wise. Was not expecting to win that towards the end there, but the Burrowing Worm really did almost get there. I'll be wrapping up the stream there. Those were some good games, and I'll be back on Friday. And the arena is going to change. So right now it's Dark Draft. The next one will be Random 60. So that's a pool of cards, of 60 cards, and then you build a 30 card deck out of those 60. So what I'm going to do is probably just jam games with that, because honestly the Random 60 is one of my favorite game modes. Anyway, have a good one everyone, and have some good Epic games, and I'll be back on Friday. All right.